Hi, welcome back. I honestly can't believe that I'm already making the third video in this series. So far, I'm actually loving the process. I have to be honest that the editing part of making these videos scared me a lot, but so far it seems to go well. As usual, I'm dedicating this video to one of my wonderful patrons, and this time it is Leah. Thank you so much for having been my patron for such a long time already. It's been so lovely getting to know you over all these years. And Leah is also a patron who gets featured in my comics, which makes it a bit extra special because we are working on new projects every single month. I came up with this illustration when I was actually having a slow moment, which is what I want to talk to you about today. In this illustration, you can see Prue sitting under a magical tree on a small little island. I had a magical swamp in her own little universe in mind when I drew this, and I hope that you can feel this as well when I say that I wanted time to stop in this illustration. That when you look at it, you can feel that this is a moment of slowness, of taking a time for herself, where everything in that moment just belongs to her. I'm someone who deals with a lot of stress, whether it's work-related, money-related, general life-related. I tend to constantly put so much pressure onto myself. And as years went by, I realized the hard way that stress and constant worrying is only slowing me down so much more than I feel at those moments. I think my blueprint is that stress and chaos is what feels most normal to me. So to me, that's some kind of comfort zone in a way. I know that finding comfort in negative things shouldn't be someone's normal, but I grew up that way, so not having it also feel like something's missing. There was a lot of lag growing up for me, so staying in that state is just what I know. I'm very conscious about the fact that my body is used to feeling stress and being constantly on edge, that it just feels unnatural to not be in that state. And every time I feel so tense, I try to recognize that it's happening and feel that my body is just not positively affected by those feelings. Of course, I don't need to explain to you why stress is not healthy, but I think it's something many of us struggle with, even on a daily basis. I think in a way, we generally were taught that stress and always being busy adds to a level of importance and significance in a way. And maybe it was also your normal growing up. I'm fully aware that stress and always being occupied and busy doesn't add to my level of importance or significance, but I can't fully or naturally let go of it because I tend to just go back to what I know. No matter how toxic it is, I learned through therapy and books that if it was part of your blueprint and part of your childhood and eventually became a pattern or your normal, that it's just something that in a way also feels comfortable to you. That's also why if you grow up being or feeling unloved, that you tend to attract people later on who also give you that same level of love or the lack thereof, because that's just what you know. So even though there are so many things that can easily stress me out on a daily, and I usually have a pretty full schedule, like I usually have things to do, I just also know that I need to slow down in order for my creativity to rise up. And it's funny because I just learned last week that stress and procrastination are linked to one another, so being stressed is actually blocking your ability to check off things off of your to-do list. I'm currently reading the Let Them theory from Mel Robbins, and in the book she interviews guests, and one doctor actually describes how stress is affecting one part of the brain or activating one part of the brain that blocks the other side that makes sure you're in flow or experiencing positive things. She obviously also explained this way better than I do and in a more scientific way, and it's just a very good book so far, so I would just recommend you read it. But I also experienced that when I'm stressed, I'm not even able to create anything and no new ideas seem to come up either. So I just needed to find ways to calm me down. Otherwise, I would just not be able to create. And lately, I've been trying out so many things because I really want 2025 to be a year of living for me. I want to mostly create and show up, to be fully present in each and every moment, to enjoy the time with the people I love, whether it's on or offline. I just want to be and enjoy life. It feels like forever ago that I was able to do that or even dare to let myself think that this was possible. And even though life is still challenging me so much, I just let myself be. I let myself cry when I feel the need to, laugh as much as I can, make moments for connection, for health, and for leisure. I just welcome positivity and try to make the most out of every moment. Life is just going too quick to constantly be on edge, and it doesn't even bring me any further being in that state all the time, so I keep repeating to myself that it's just useless, and then I try to shift that moment. It's very hard for me to get out of a moment of stress, so I try to be ahead of it most of the time. And something that became my motto is to just slow down. I constantly repeat to myself that I need to slow down, that what I feel is valid, but I just choose to allow myself to shift from feeling stressed to feeling loved, supported, and alive. And that's when I create space to allow creativity to come to me again. Here are a few things that slows me down that are quite simple, fun things, but make a huge change in my creative journey. The first thing is I invest in slow mornings. I dread gray mornings, so it's a little extra special when there's sun when I wake up, especially during this winter time. But I already know I will absolutely love this as soon as we're getting closer to spring and summer. I usually don't immediately pick up the phone anymore, and I allow myself to sleep until I'm fully rested, because usually I stay up quite late as I tend to draw until late in the evenings. And then I take time to enjoy my breakfast and my coffee. If I want to draw during my coffee, or if I just want to check my emails, I allow myself to do so, but nothing actually has to happen during that period of my day. I realize that this allows me to get into a certain flow where everything just goes. And for me, that's the flow I need to start creating. Where I would dread starting my day before I did this, because I would pressure myself to start working as soon as I open my eyes, it now actually gives me that feeling of wanting to do stuff in a natural way. The second thing that I changed was my focus on connecting. When I made time for people, I would actually want to rush through those moments because I felt so busy and always thought about my long to-do list waiting for me. I now dedicate time for the people I love. Whether it's for drinking a coffee, chatting online, replying to DMs, going on a date, I just make sure I'm fully invested in that person. I don't give away my time freely anymore, and I'm not going for quantity anymore either. But when I'm meeting someone or when I'm chatting with someone online or offline, I dedicate all my attention to them because we both deserve this. Time is precious, and I do think that we need to set apart time to connect with one another. I would often feel bad because I would make time for everyone whenever they wanted, and it just left me feeling so empty. And now I allow myself to pick out a time that also works for me, of which I know I would be fully present, and being fully present with the people I spend time with also makes me feel calmer and happier. And that's when you also fully connect and you can really feel that difference. The third thing that is also super important for me is to make time for my health. Whether it's mental or physical health, I just give myself so much attention lately. I do cry a lot, but I think it's mostly built up stress coming out because I now forgive myself for it and take the time to actually feel after a long period of stress. I also plan time for movement, whether it's going to the gym or going for a walk. I plan it in and I don't move away from it. And it always makes me feel so much happier in the end, and actually also relieved in a way. Relief is a feeling that is so underrated, but if your body feels unstuck or the blocks are removed, you're welcoming in so much positivity. And if I have to name one feeling that brings forth more positivity, I would definitely say it's relief. The fourth thing is making time for leisure. I mentioned the slow mornings before, but I also make time to read in my book every single day. And I would do this before going to bed. It's the perfect way for me to end my day, and it actually encourages me to work before reading as well, because it makes me feel so fulfilled. Reading is one of my favorite things to do, and I absolutely love books, so surrounding myself with books and cozying up in my reading corner is the perfect way to end my day. I also look at drawing as leisure. When I feel like it, I draw just for fun, and that's usually when good things come up. That's also how this illustration came to existence. I was just doodling its concept, and I really wanted to make it into a full illustration. I just felt so connected to it. The final thing for now, and one that really stands out to me and has made a significant change, is not putting any pressure on creating things. I would pressure myself into a 9 to 5 routine before, or even force myself to draw on weekdays, because that's when I should be working, right? I wanted to keep a routine, but there's no such thing when it comes to creativity. I do still like to plan ahead on Sundays just to have a clear picture of what I want to achieve that week, but I don't force myself to do these things in certain time frames or in certain times in my days. That just doesn't work for me. And so I naturally allow myself to welcome in creativity instead of forcing it onto myself. I did feel lazy for it at first, but it actually allows me to create so much more in the end. Tell me in the comments if these things are resonating with you or which ones you would like to adapt in your own life as well. I realize I have a bit of an unusual job and I'm just doing what works for me, but maybe you can twist these things to make them work for you too in your own time schedule. Before we wrap things up, I want to thank my amazing patrons who are my rock throughout my art journey. They are allowing me so much freedom and time to create, and they also take away a huge layer of stress for me. So I put them on a huge pedestal. My patrons mean so much to me. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you again in the next one. Bye!